All right, well, good morning. It's my privilege to welcome all of you to Streamline, the Practice Efficiency Conference. We're excited that you're here. This has been a long time in the making with a tremendous amount of work and preparation and support from your private advice group team and other key partners in our community. We're also excited this is our first ever Streamline virtual event, the first of what we hope are many more to come. Over the next 2 days, you'll experience hours of customized content focused on driving the efficiency of your practice and the practices you support, elevating your operations and leveraging technology to make it all happen. One of the areas that we've been focused on in our communications is highlighting how we take valuable insights from our community and then move them into action. So insights into action. So in that spirit, Streamline wasn't just something we made up. It was born out of feedback from all of you, including anecdotal feedback from office staff thirsting for knowledge and networking opportunities, survey feedback from advisors after each conference telling us that operations and technology were your top choices and topics of interest, and results from the annual advisor insight survey that indicated that your preference for learning is virtual. So thirst for knowledge, networking opportunities, operations and technology conference, and doing all this virtually, and we have Streamline. So our request of you is to please take advantage of the general sessions, take advantage of the breakout sessions presented by your private advisory group team and many of our key partners. By the closing session tomorrow, our hope is that you'll have a full list of ideas to drive the efficiency of your practice. So we ask that you get out a physical notebook, stack of 3x5 cards, or use the Notes app on your phone and write down every good idea that you want to implement in your practice. We hope that you'll put these ideas into practice, of course, but also share them with your peers that maybe couldn't attend the conference today and tomorrow. And we'd love to hear how they're working in your practice, so please share those with us. And finally, our hope is that you carry these not just throughout the next week or two, but throughout 2025 and beyond. So a couple housekeeping items before we get to our main speaker. First is during all Streamline sessions, you can select the resources, in the Zoom menu to open up a resources panel and see any relevant links or documents and information about the presenters. After each session, you'll also see that after you attend the session, you'll see that we are asking for your immediate feedback. So after you leave the session, a pop-up notification will appear in the top right corner of the Streamline dashboard. Simply select Share Feedback and rate each session from 1 to 5. And again, connecting insights to action. This is really important feedback for us as we continue to build on this event and its content for the future. And then the final housekeeping item, throughout the event, you can contact Streamline at privateadvisorgroup.com if you have any questions, comments, or need support. We've got a lot of eyes on the event today and throughout tomorrow. We want to make sure that you're getting everything you need from it. All right, with that in mind, we're going to get to our first speaker. So we're going to get started with a business operations scaling expert, which we're excited about. She has over 30 years of experience transforming over 1,000 businesses. She's the founder of My Virtual COO and is here to help you push the easy button, won't that be nice, and simplify your business operations for scalable success. So please welcome to our first ever Streamline event, Jen Goldman. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Frank. Thanks everyone for having me, and Frank, Garrett, Kelly, your entire team. This is really exciting and we're going to get this rocking. All right. If ever we could, let's talk about operations and scaling your business and making it the thriving business that you dreamed of when you started or that when you joined as an employee. So today we're going to cover push the easy button. Right. So the way I see all of you that are here today, and I'm so thankful for you being here today, is that it is our job, your job, our job to dream and inspire and engage, bring ideas to life and integrate. And this is a lot. So I'm so glad you're here today to learn. And we're going to go through some great tricks and techniques and ideas that you can take away through the rest of today and tomorrow's learning and beyond. So again, let's just acknowledge and hold space for the fact that we're here because it's our job to dream and inspire, to engage ourselves and each other, to bring ideas to life and to integrate them into reality. We are also, and never give ourselves enough credit for this, so give yourself credit, give yourself a pat on the back. We are designers of a constellation of improvements. So while we're here to improve the lives of our clients and maybe our communities and beyond, we're also in for improvements within our own ecosystem. And that's the business that we're in, right? There are so many pieces to it. And this is why we explain it in terms of constellations. Think of it like stars, right? In different areas. We care about processes. We care about having clarity around our roles and responsibilities. And maybe for some, those that want to delegate. We care about our client experiences. And yes, that's plural. We have different types of clients. We care about our finances. We want to be striving, investing in our team, investing in ourselves, investing in everything that we're doing. And we certainly want to have presence out in the world and within our own teams. But we're the ones that design that. You're here today, I would imagine, to learn and to be better and to do better. So keep this in mind that you are that designer. And today we're going to talk all about designing and visuals and things to make things easier for doing all of this. The other thing we are teachers and we're cheerleaders. We are teaching ourselves and we're teaching others, whether it's tech or it's finance or it's how to change and be graceful through all that, right? The client experience, communications, processes, you get it. And we have to not only be the teachers, but we have to boost each other up. There are days and weeks when, hey, this just is not so easy. And so we have to cheerlead each other. Cheerlead through the wins and cheerlead through the fails and the lessons learned. Super important. And why do we do this work? Well, I'm going to use the words from all of the businesses that we've worked with, right? We love great successes. We want to help more people. We are a giving entity in the world. We want choices. And sometimes choices come with being compensated well. And we want to work with happy team members, happy clients, happy providers. But here's the other thing. We also like the dopamine and the endorphin surges. Let's keep that in mind today and through tomorrow and learning that we want all of this. We want these things, but we also like how we feel with all of this. So here's what we're going to cover today to kind of kick off this day of learning and tomorrow with the great sessions that you have. I'm going to help you make everything easier to accelerate success. And how am I going to do that today? I'm going to either teach you or remind you that visualization is key. Sharing with each other is crucial, and celebrating is an absolute necessity in whatever form that you do it in. Again, visualizing, sharing, and celebrating. If there's nothing else to take away, take those 3 words. That's good enough. And oh, by the way, just to let you know at the end of this, there is a Cliff Notes, so you don't have to scratch and write and go crazy here. I'm sure some of you are writing away. There will be some Cliff Notes on this that you'll be able to gather. Okay, so unlike most keynotes, right, where we're talking the whole time, I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds of quiet to see the result of choosing an easy path. Read the before and read the after. Let's take a couple seconds to do that, and then let me tell you this story. All right, I just held space for you realizing this is not a story that's patched together by multiple firms. This is a story that can happen over and over. And the first thing I want to say is for any of you that are joining us and you are just starting out, do not get discouraged by this. Have hope. These are the things that could happen if you want them to. We all have choices, remember. We're here by choice today to learn, and tomorrow we're here by choice to be in this industry. We get to make the choices of our paths. My job is just to help you get it more easily, right? So this is a story of a business that came with a team that actually didn't trust each other. And they were doing an acquisition of books of business every quarter. There was no trust, there were no processes. They were growing super fast. So on paper, they looked great. They were crumbling inside, crumbling. The result of the things I'm going to show you today is the after column. This is possible. And it's possible without the high emotions and the change pain and the change fatigue, and for that matter, consultant fatigue that most everyone seems to be feeling these days. All right, so I just want to let you know this can exist. These stories exist over and over. What you don't hear is where they're starting from, because nobody's going to write about that pain. Nobody's going to write about the tough story. Nobody wants to share that with the world, but it's out there. All right, so I'm going to give you a little science with all of this. Here's the science. And I didn't know this for the first 15 years. So the reality is I'm just learning. Behind visualization is neuroscience that actually backs this. First of all, most of us already know that over 66% of us are visual learners. That's a given. We've known that for years. But more importantly, when we visualize things, what we automatically do is we calm the amygdala and we energize the prefrontal cortex. And this is super important. That prefrontal cortex is your rational brain. It's calm, it's cool. It's that cool guy, cool woman in the room. The amygdala is the one that starts to get all nervous, or the ego kicks in, fear kicks in. Our goal with making things easy is to tell that amygdala, just chill out and get that prefrontal going. And that's everything that we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you through all different areas of the business how you can do this. All right. So again, there is neuroscience behind all of this, visualizing, sharing, and celebrating. And it, once you get going, is almost addictive in a good way. Those endorphins and that dopamine I'm talking about, you want more of that. It's healthy and it's good. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. It's a lot again, so remember, there will be cliff notes that you can able to download after. All right, so what I would love you to do is just kind of soak this in. And as I always say for any conference, try to take one thing away, just one, and that's more than enough, right? We can only handle so much. So we're going to first tackle time and energy mapping, because we all would love more time and we know it's limited. We're going to tackle tech. We're going to tackle roles and responsibilities. We're going to tackle business planning and productive communication. And unlike a normal keynote, because we're virtual, we're actually going to do a little muscle memory exercise. Don't worry, nobody's being graded. We're just going to have a little fun near the end. Okay, let's get into it. So let's talk about time and energy mapping. First of all, I don't know about you, but I wear multiple hats. All right. And in any given day, I'm doing multiple different things that use different parts of my entire body, my brain, and my energy level. And there's certain times in the day when it's detail work time, quiet time. There's other parts of the day when it's good time to be in a team meeting and communicate. So we all know this, but what we forget is we have other people around us, and we don't know what they like to do and what their flow of time and energy is. So this exercise, which can be done through whiteboarding, it can be done with sticky notes. Yes, it can be done virtually. There's all sorts of great tools out there, okay? Is time and energy mapping. Taking your day, your general average day, and putting together when you actually want to do client work versus self-learning and business strategy. And then having your other team members do their column and then compare. And the beauty of this is by color, you don't even need to read. Eye fatigue is a real thing, but visual representation calms everything down about your body and mind, lets you more quickly do this and share to start to come together to have a better flow. The thing about easy is less friction, let's be honest. So we want to create as little friction as possible in everything that we're doing and everything that we're sharing out to the world. So if you haven't done a time and energy map yet, great exercise to do as a team, great exercise to do with you. And maybe you are one man and it's with you and your family. It all works. All right. It's about respecting each other's times, having boundaries. And then, of course, for those of you that are tech savvy, baking this into your scheduling system. So that's one. All right. Tech mapping. There are so many advantages of doing this. Now, first off, by visualizing, it does lower shiny object syndrome. Because automatically, when you start to put in all the technology you use, the map might be absolutely crazy and full. What I'm showing you is not only the visualization of the tech being used, but what data flows between the technologies. Now, here's the beauty of this. By putting the tech on first, we start to automatically lower the shiny object syndrome. We also start to acknowledge, wow, there's got to be places that we can turn on data to cut down on manual labor, which frees up people to learn new skills and to rise up. Okay. The other nice thing about tech mapping is you can take this tech map, send it to any of your providers in your ecosystem, and you could say, am I missing something? Is there something I could turn on? Because I don't know about you, but the number of emails I receive on the different tech improvements that are out there, it's overwhelming. That alone can suck my email box into a black hole. So you want to be doing your tech mapping. And again, you're going to see through the theme of today. This is all about visualization. It doesn't matter whether you do it in PowerPoint or any other system. At this point, they're all online. They all can be shared with your team members. So anybody can jump in and help. Okay, this is a little bit more meaty. So let's go through this. The number one thing we hear with almost every single business that we work with is lack of clarity around roles and responsibilities. What we're really hearing is around authority level, but that's not how it's said. So we're going to give you something easier to do around this, because I think the first reaction is, oh my gosh, I've got to write out job descriptions and I've got to do this all like by myself. If you're a leader, absolutely not. That's old school. That's how it used to be done. You write out a job description by yourself, talking to yourself, maybe going online and doing research. Well, the beauty of this is we can do this as a team. Right? If we had a smaller group, you could do this with peers. Let's say you're in a CEO study group. You can do this type of thing. So let's go first through the methodology, and then let me show you the technique. So the methodology on this is that you have to, as a servant leader, care about the lowest skilled member of your team, to care about everyone. If you care about the lowest skilled member of your team, you will automatically move up the chain to the highest level, which is why the intern is at the absolute bottom. Okay. And with every step up, coming up the triangle, you'll see there's more authority. So it's not necessarily what the person is doing, but level of authority they have to decide, to manage, to coordinate, to lead, to do. Or maybe at an intern level, to learn. Now let's do the easy button on this one. Role charting. So for less than a minute, I'd like you to think, what would this chart look like if you did this with yourself, sure, your team, and you enter the name of the person that's responsible for, let's say, the decision-making on marketing in the upper left, or the manager of developing the talent in the middle right? And what providers are you using for each of these areas? Would your name be in most of the boxes? Yes. This is usually what happens, and that's okay. Now, if you have a team, kudos to you, because the best thing to do with this role chart is to give one to each team member and let them fill it in. And boy, will you be surprised. Some people think they have more authority than you thought you gave them, vice versa, right? Some people are not taking the reins on the authority they've been given. So by visualizing this versus talking about it, you will make more progress with less fear and emotion. Because let's remember, by visualizing, we are activating the prefrontal cortex, the rational brain. By verbalizing, by talking only, we are triggering the amygdala, fear and flight. And the one thing that causes the most distrust and the most issues in a business is the unclear roles, responsibilities, and authority. Or the fear of, oh my gosh, my name is in all these boxes. No wonder I'm overwhelmed. How do I get out of this? Use your team, use your providers, and visualize. And I can guarantee this, and that's a tough word to say in this industry, that you will automatically find a quick win in the exercise of visualizing. And if you come back to this every quarter, once a year, you will see slowly how people are extracted out of things they shouldn't or don't want to be doing. And maybe if you are in most of the boxes, you won't be in as many, but all with less energy and emotion going through this. Okay, let's keep going. So another technique, and this is a big one. So I don't know how many of you are using systems. There's Trello and ClickUp and Monday and Notion and Asana. And oh my gosh, there's so many. There's Smart Sheets, another form of Excel, right? Transparent business planning. So I think a lot of businesses, such as yourselves, are already doing some form of this. When you have an idea, you're writing it down. You're not just letting it, sit in the brain and fill up the head and start to cause your ears to smoke, okay? But the writing down, awesome. Love it, great. But now we have to share and we have to clarify. So let me tell you, easy button again. When you write down your different ideas, you want to identify what I call the why. Okay? So first off, you want to do the what, which is the first of the 4W. Then you want to do the why. And the why can be all sorts of different reasons, but let me give you the 4 P's to make this easier. All right? P number 1, people. Will this benefit my people, my clients, my community? 2 for P's, productivity. Will this improve our productivity? 3rd P, profitability. Will this improve our profitability? Not in a greedy way, in a way of having money in the bottom line to invest back in the team and the business. Take care of our peoples. And 4, will this give us presence? Presence of culture inside the firm, presence outside in the community, presence with the people we want to attract. So the why breaks into 4 P's: people, productivity, profitability, presence. If we make it past the what and the why, now we have an action item to plan. If we don't make it past the why, it stays there. Some call it the parking lot, others have other terms for it. I call it the simmer pot. The point is, until you know the why, basically the P, purpose, right? You do not move ahead. But once you do, then you think about the who. That's the 3rd W, the assignee. And then the 4th is the when. When do we start this and when do we hope to finish this? So I know some of you, and I understand this, some of you are visionaries, and that is awesome. And some of you have shiny object syndrome, and we get it. It's all fine. We need that creativity, but we have to ground it. We have to bring it to a healthy place where we're sharing it with the team. And then frankly, once you do all of this, everything is more clear of what's ahead. The team has bought in, right? So that change fatigue that we're feeling, that lowers substantially. The amount of effort and energy it takes to convince people why we should be doing something lowers. What's that? That's all about the easy, right? Let's make this easy. So by the time we get to actually implementing, everybody has a general theme, knows it's coming, bought in advance, and implementation is that much easier. And so is adoption. And because we also covered the roles and responsibilities and authority, there isn't this confusion or fear of, if we do something, what does that mean for me? Because we've acknowledged that we're thinking about our people, right? And we're thinking about them in a way that we're sharing with each other. Super important. Okay, let's get into communication. Because we talked about visualization, we talk about sharing and celebrating wins, but what's so important is communication. I don't know about you, but meetings to have meetings is no-go in my world, right? Time is limited, and with time comes energy. So a lot of you probably are using EOS or System and Soul, and some of you might be using Bloom Growth. There's so many different tools out there to use and structures, and it is all great. What we have forgotten, and this is super important, is the sharing of the facilitation and moderation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to bring this all together through communication and inclusion. And then we're going to do that fun exercise. Okay, so for weekly habit, we always want to have in our weekly outlined agenda our 3-year aspirations. What are we trying to achieve? Let's just keep that top of mind. We don't have to say it in the meeting. It's just there for everyone to see in the agenda. And then we can talk about the fun, the presence, the marketing announcements, and have somebody else present that. Now, again, you're one man, you're doing this by yourself in your own head. Totally get it. Maybe you're doing it with a coach. Maybe you're doing it with a spouse, a partner, who knows, right? Then we move on to improvements. So our weekly meetings have gotten stuck in this idea of covering past due tasks and diving deep. And you know what? That's different than this weekly habit that I'm talking about. This weekly habit is about taking your business to the next level by cross-communicating and sharing to improve as a team. So we cover client tasks, but we cover them in a way to just look for systemic bottlenecks. So what do I mean by that? Let's just look at our past due tasks once a week, see something that's bottlenecking. Maybe it's the leader that's in the middle of everything and needs to get out of the way. That's a systemic bottleneck. Once you determine to remove that, give somebody else authority, that's not a bottleneck anymore, and it'll free up so much of the work on the list. We have to review our business tasks. Remember I showed you transparent business planning? Those are our business tasks or projects. What's going on? Are we approving a process? Are we implementing a new tech system? And let somebody else moderate that, especially if you have somebody that's spearheading some of those initiatives. Workflow tasks. Workflows are standardized processes. Some of you have them, some of you don't yet, right? But I'm sure there's certain things that you do over and over and repeat. And if you take a look at them every once in a while, you'll see that something's bottlenecking, and again, removing it permanently. This is the whole idea of Kaizen, of this continuous incremental changes and improvements. And then we have the process improvements that go with it. And then we have the team shares. So if you remember at the beginning, I mentioned about celebrating. We have to learn to celebrate. But here's the deal. Just like roles and responsibilities, you guys make it so hard on yourselves, especially you leaders. Stop and let the team share. We can now share agendas and systems where anyone can edit. So let them put in something that was a win or a lesson learned or something they want to share at the end of the meeting to respect the meeting time and make sure it runs on time. And let them add it as it's happening. If something happens on Tuesday, but the team meeting is until next Monday, it's hard to remember those things. I think that's where we're using all of our time and energy and making things hard on ourselves. So go ahead, put it in the agenda. And when you see the agenda next week, you'll remember it again because it'll be there for you. So that's one, it's the weekly habit. Now we have the quarterly habit. Again, a lot of you are doing, again, the L10 and the EOS, or you're doing your quarterlies. It doesn't matter the structure. What you want to do is revisit who and where you are now, ground everybody to where you are today, because not everybody may know. Revisit where you're going. It's the aspirations. Brainstorm. Let the fun come out. Let people think of ideas. Remember, it's just because it's an idea doesn't mean it goes into action. It just gets to go on the transparent business plan, right? And then we go through the W's and the Y's and all that. And then always end with a fun activity. Our brains are tired. We are tired of change, but it's not going away. So find one fun activity. It could be if you're together, maybe it's working on a puzzle for a little bit. Maybe it's doing a pipe cleaner animal, okay? And some of these are virtual ideas too, right? Enneagrams, spirit animal, VARK, learning how people learn. Food, it's always a good one. Always end with something fun to energize each other and boost that kind of feeling of we've got this. Right. All right, let's talk about annual habit. So those that are leaders of bigger companies, you probably have this down, and kudos to you. But when you're a smaller business, it's hard. Why are you doing a company meeting when you have maybe, let's say, 2 or 3 employees and a couple providers? Why? Because again, it grounds, it celebrates, and it shares. This is super important. We all know habits take time, and you want to start them when you're smaller and you have less people to pull together, right? So let me talk about the annual habit. We actually call this state of the company. You can call it whatever you want. And you don't need to go to a fancy retreat. You don't need to have like a whole day event, right? This could be an hour. This could be 2 hours. This could be you as a one-man, one-woman shop, just writing this out for yourself and then giving yourself the pat on the back. Totally good. Please do that. All right. So here's what we cover in annual: where we've been, our past revenue, our past number of clients, what we didn't have, right? The systems, the processes, the talent, or maybe we don't even include that. We just leave it blank. Who we are, what we value, what our morals, ethics, maybe you have a mission statement, maybe you have a purpose statement, all great, right? And then where are we now? Where's our revenue now, our clients, our team? What's our team look like? And remember, our team includes our outside providers too. They're humans, they're doing work. Put them in. And our systems. What is the support mechanism underneath us? The tech, the processes that support us so we can breathe and strive for more. And then what should we be so proud of? What are our accomplishments in the past year? Now, you're probably wondering at that moment, how is this easier? I have to put together this whole deck? Well, if you remember, you already know your accomplishments. They're sitting in your weekly meeting agenda. Not hard. Not hard for somebody at a lower skill level to pull it together, including an intern. And finally, where are we going? This might be light when you first start. Maybe it's a pipe dream, right? Aspirations, vision, initiatives, hires, help, all these different things. Put it down. More often than not, it will change. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with putting down a goal, and the next time you come to this deck to update it, you realize, wow, I didn't get there, but boy, did I have other accomplishments. It is all good. What's not good is keeping this in your head and not writing it down and visualizing. And most importantly, if you have a team, not sharing. Okay, so I said this is not the usual keynote. So at this point, I'm going to ask the private group if you could please chat out the link to everyone so we can get into this interactive exercise to bring this muscle memory to life. Here's. All right. And so what I would love everyone to do, yay, okay. And I am not, we're going to sit on the sharing and caring. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to help you visualize today and we're going to learn. So I want everybody to jump in. You don't have to log into the system. You don't have to set up a license. I can see people jumping in. We're going to have a lot of people in here. All right. So as you're jumping in, what I would love for you to do is, that's right, click on the tiles, or we'll call them sticky notes, and move them around. I'd love you to learn how to zoom in and out. Go to the bottom right. Is having fun. I would also love you when you zoom in and out to learn how to right click and move your mouse up and down, and you'll see how the board shifts. To the left, there is a little tile of icons to find the sticky notes. You can click on a sticky note on the left under the T. That's right. And when you do that, you can click, pull up a color, you can drag it into the middle. Oh my goodness, somebody went yellow. Yay, great coloring. I love it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Everybody keep jumping in. This is all good. And to be fully transparent and share, I am helping your minds open up and relax. All right. So just so you know why this works, this is why. So here's what I would love you to do as you guys all jump in. I'd love you to double click with your left side of your mouse, unless you're left-handed, double click on a sticky. And I would love you to write in there one aspiration you have for learning today and tomorrow. One goal, one thought, one reason. Tell others your why for being here today. If you don't like what you wrote, you can go on the upper left and click the back arrow and right next to the private advisor group title. You can double click on your words and you can click your delete or your back key. All right, I'm going to fix the board a little bit here, everyone. So while you're doing that, we're going to have a little fun. And after a minute of this, and you know what? I'm even going to give you, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see if we can get a little happening music going here. All right. Awesome. Keep it coming. Keep going. There's some lines going on here. This is great. Ooh, that little cloud. Keep going. And for any of you that didn't get in, I'm now going to share my screen and show you what's going on. So this is when the iPhone doesn't work, guys. Sorry for those that are on an iPhone. All right, just a little bit more time. And then we're going to talk about what just happened. Very cool. Keep going. More than one aspiration is perfectly fine. All right. This is great. All right. Now you guys can keep playing in this board, and I promise to leave this open, but I'm going to tell you what's happening as you guys are doing this. So just think about it this way. If you had a team and you were collaborating on roles and responsibilities on sticky notes, if you were collaborating on aspirations on sticky notes or tech, think how much faster and easier you could pull something together using visualization. So it doesn't really matter the tool that you're in, it matters that you're using a whiteboarding or a visualization tool. Because what that does is it includes others on the team. It gets them calm and excited about something versus nervous and fearing, right? We talked about this. And look what we just accomplished in less than a minute and a half. We had more than 90 people in, 90 people sharing. Let's say you had a big company. Let's say you had 100 people, right? How would you possibly know? Could you have enough conversations every day and enough meetings to know what's on people's minds? And this is the point. You can have fun. You can visualize all sorts of things that you're doing. You can share and you can celebrate. And I just gave you just a little taste of muscle memory in this exercise. All right, so I'm going to take that off the screen. I'm going to come back to here. All right, so let's recap. How do we make things easier to accelerate success? We visualize, we share, and we celebrate. Why do we do this? What's the benefits, right? We have less fear. We have higher, quicker adoption to the ideas, the implementation of them. We have quicker, easier success. We have more energy and rewards. And ultimately, we have happier people. And I know we all know this, but when we're happy, our clients feel that happiness, our community feels that happiness, and we know we actually get more business that way too. And in summary, let me leave you with this, and don't forget, we'll give you a download again for all of these scratching away. Visualize time, tech, people, and planning. Okay? Communicate with purpose and celebrate the wins and the lessons learned through the team meetings and so forth on the plans. What does this do? It boosts. It boosts our people, our productivity, our profitability, and our presence. And we get that bigger impact and that bigger reward. And that's what I have for you today. I am so happy you joined me. I'm so excited for you guys to go into all this learning today and tomorrow. And if nothing else, remember, take one idea away from each session. And I thank you all for investing your time and your energy with me today.